It's just so nasty. I love it. I'm so mad that's
can't
the
not
last
dance.
time we have it. Oh my God. Welcome back to Kind of Funny's Magic Mike in review. That's right. We are ranking and reviewing the entire Magic Mike universe. And I'm so mad. This is it. Just 2 movies. I want like 9 or 10 of these things. I want to keep building in this direction.
Tim,
But
there's a lot of things that I hope for, right? One day I hope that Lucasfilm will just reset the prequel trilogies and we'll get a brand new bunch of those. But above that, after watching this movie, it is a fucking crime that we are not getting a cinematic Magic Mike universe. Who am I the only one that wants to see Dallas and the Kids adventure in Macau?
in China? No, dude. Let's fucking, of course, we have Nick Scarpino. We also have Andy Cortez.
Hello, everybody.
We have Joey Noel.
Sorry,
And
I
of
was
course,
drinking Diet Coke.
joining us is Chris Anka.
Guys, do you
Once
think
again.
he's still gonna have some magic in that mic?
Oh, I think that this movie proved he has enough magic to go around, you know? What a film this is. Ladies and gentlemen, you can watch this show on youtube.com/kindoffunny or roosterteeth.com. If you want to listen to it as a podcast, search your favorite podcast service for Kind of Funny Reviews. If you want to get the show ad-free and watch it live as it's being recorded, you can go to patreon.com/kindoffunny. Just like our Patreon producers, Graham of Legend, David Mintel, Al Tribesman, Cassandra Ramirez, Sven McHale, James Davis, and the nanobiologist all did. Today we're brought to you by MeUndies, but I'll tell you about that later. For now, we got to get in to Magic Mike Double XL. God bless them naming it this. They could have just called it 2. No. No. That
They
would
could have called it, by the way, they could have called it XL.
Should have been too horny.
What are you saying, Nick?
They could have called it XL, right? Like Magic Mike Extra Large, like the extra large version of it. But no,
But
they
you
called
know
it.
someone in the room was like, no. There was a
No,
Nick
no, bro.
Scarpino in the room that was like, no, double
No,
XL.
guys. No.
Too much meat in this movie.
Oh God, it's so much.
A runtime of 1 hour, 55 minutes, released on July 1st, 2015. Directed by Gregory Jacobs, who's an American film director, assistant director, producer, and screenwriter. He frequently collaborates with Steven Soderbergh, who was the director of the first one, and who was cinematographer on this one. Couldn't really find any info on why the switcheroo happened. A budget of $14.8 million and a box office of $122.5 million. Before we get into what we think, I do want to just give the trivia on why some of the actors did not return. Matthew McConaughey was in talks to reprise his character role of Dallas for the sequel, but talks fell through because of financial reasons. According to the studio, since winning his Academy Award for Best Actor in Dallas Buyers Club, there's some irony there, guys, McConaughey's pay rate had increased, which is a tactical procedure for an actor to capitalize on his acclaimed success after he just won the Academy Award. This led to the studio optioning to pass on bringing him back. Alex Pifter also did not return to reprise his role as Adam. Reports of production from the first movie say that him and Channing Tatum did not get along. And Cody Horn did not reprise her role as Brooke because she and her character were not well received and disliked by fans.
What's even more amazing about that is that there's fans of the first Magic Mike to not like Brooke.
Hey, all of us, right?
Well, you said Alex Prifter?
I don't know. What's his name? Alex Pettyfer.
Pettifer, I think.
Pettifer. You know what, Andy? Just
No,
let
I'm
it slide.
I'm googling it because I'm just trying to figure. Oh, okay. Look.
kid.
That's my bad. Yeah, I didn't. You probably said the kid. I just didn't. I was like, who was he? Like another director? Was he a writer or something? But no, he was the main guy.
No, I forced my way through it. I saw a bunch of letters next to each other. I'm like, I don't like
rattled.
seeing a TYF. I just not gonna push through.
Got rattled
Andy,
easily.
what'd you think about Magic Mike Double XL?
This is gonna be the dumbest thing to say, but I liked the parts that I enjoyed and didn't like the parts that I didn't like.
Yep.
Magic Mike.
It's such an odd movie. It really feels like two completely different directors and writers wrote two completely and different parts and directed different moments, and they kind of meshed them together. But you take this one, I'll go this one, and so I love all the bromance. I'm eating that shit up. The Backstreet Boys moment in the grocery shop where they're all mollied up. Like I love every moment where you feel the love between this family that they've created. And then, like, look, as awesome as the Donald Glover scene was, I was just like, well, this is going on for a while, and I'm kind of confused. And any scene that was similar to the Donald Glover scenes, I'm just kind of like, what? I don't really know what's happening. Like, it just caught me off guard because the whole vibe seemed to have changed. And then I just kind of like accepted it, and it's all just one mismatch of a bunch of different vibes. I enjoyed it quite a bit more than the first one. I'll say that.
Chris, what about you?
I love this movie. I think Joy and I were talking about it on Twitter. Like, all of my love of Magic Mike comes from this one movie. Like, I like the first one, but this is the one that's super fun and super about bringing joy to people, and like it's a weird kind of like superhero movie about like
Healing.
the power. Yeah, they even talk about it. Like we're healers. We have this power, and I'm like, yeah. And they kind of go through everyone's little like niche. I'm like, oh, I'm the singer, and I get to do that. Or like, I like mature women. I'm there for them, and I'm like, I'm Magic Mike, and I'm like, it's awesome. I love it. And I think there's like a few we can talk about it later, but there's a few scenes in which I saw this at like a midnight showing drunk with a theater full of drunk women. And there were moments in which we just transcended into like, this is no longer a stripper movie, and this is just an amazing dance movie. Like, I stood up and I hollered at some moves that Channing does in this movie, and I still do. They still hit me. They're so good.
Joey Noel.
As I was watching Magic Mike last week, I feel like as I was going through the movie, I was like, wow, pretty much all of the scenes from Magic Mike as a series, I don't know what else we want to call this, that are memorable to me are from XL, and I didn't realize that until I rewatched the first one. And so rewatching this one, I'm just like, I feel like they understood that the plot of Magic Mike wasn't necessarily the driving force, and it was driving people to go see it. They're like, we're just going to give people what they want. And I feel like they delivered on that movie. A lot of it very disjointed and feels kind of weird, but I feel like they totally nailed the parts that made it fun. And I feel like that was the important part to me.
Nick, you also had a big revelation about this movie.
Yeah, first and foremost, start watching this movie, get 10 minutes in, and I'm like, I have never seen this movie before. I totally thought I had. I'm like, this is mystifying to me. I don't know how I missed the sequel to Magic Mike, but apparently I did. And I'll back up everything everyone's saying. To Andy's point, you're 100% right. The parts of this movie that were fun are amazing. The rest of the movie makes zero sense and centers around a stripper convention in Myrtle Beach, which is, by the way, when you get to the convention, you guys have all been to conventions before, right? Like, you've all been to Comic-Con. Isn't that what you imagined the stripper convention was going to be? No, it's one small ballroom in a hotel. Not so much a convention, more just one long, like 12-hour long show, like Andy's birthday stream. But with, I guess, more nudity or less nudity, Andy? I'm sorry, I didn't watch your stream. I assume there was some nudity. Okay. This movie, I think when they said about making this movie, they were like, how do we make a more fun, tonally appropriate movie for a group of male strippers that apparently give you John Wick vibes a little bit when they start going around and every single person in the world knows them, and there's underground strip clubs that we've never even seen before.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, it is a freaking crying shame they don't build out this world more, because it's absurd and it's completely outlandish, but I would actually watch a third Magic Mike XXL.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm right there with everything that we've all said. I think we're on the exact same page with this movie, which is like, we had a damn good time with it, but what a disaster it is. And I just love that because, like, one of my favorite things in the world is what Chris was talking about taking things and kind of making them superheroes that shouldn't be. Like, how many times do we need to appreciate Karate is life in the world of Cobra Kai and Karate Kid? How many times do we need to make sure that they don't get in their cars in the Fast and Furious, because you ain't going to stop them if they get in their cars?
Yeah.
This movie has that magic, the magic of stripping and all of it. And I love that. And every time that we see like the end results of the dance scenes, like Andy was talking about the Backstreet Boys, incredible, just utterly incredible. They get to the convention,
Happy.
the whole set stage with multiple catwalks. I was like, well, here's some inspiration for a future Kind of Funny Live. Like, I'm loving it so much. But the core of this movie was like, okay, we got to think outside the box, guys. And it's like, first off, why? Like, that is just an absurd premise for this of like, you haven't done this for so many years, Mike. You're just gonna jump back in and try something new. We have 2 days, let's figure it out. And we don't even really get a montage of them figuring it out. They just kind of all like, well, I guess
Go to
I'm
Ace
the
Hardware.
quirky- I like to sing, so I'm gonna sing during my strip show. What?
But you know what's weird though?
What?
You know what's weird though? It is actually kind of poignant that they are all reeling from having been used by Dallas, and they got left behind, and they pick up Mike because they legit like miss him. And he goes, "Hey, all of those things that we used to do came from Dallas. Like, we should, if we're going to do this one last time, this should all come from us." That was actually one of the elements of the movie that I was like, "Huh." That was surprisingly like nice.
Yeah.
To, you know,
You're so right, but I just love that it's the
fucking
one
weird.
last run.
Yeah.
Like,
Why?
For the second
You can't do
movie,
it tomorrow?
I don't know that we needed the
You can't
one
just
last
go
run.
again.
Like,
Like, apparently
we got it.
Well, it's what they the one thing the movie fundamentally fails at, and I say fails like it fucking needed to succeed at all at any of this stuff. But it does. There's no stakes in this movie. They're like, we got to make it to the convention. Why? Because are we well known? Like, they don't set up at all that these guys have, Chris, the reputation for male entertainers in the world. Apparently, they are world renowned entertainer. What was, I forget what their show was called before. It was like Experience or
Something of
Exquisite,
Tampa.
right?
Exquisite, right?
Exquisite.
Exquisite, but apparently Exquisite was in a fucking like double decker like makeshift house or something like that in Tampa Bay, but it was world renowned, right? Everyone knew this thing. So apparently they
They
get
were
there,
the
but like
cock-rocking kings of Tampa, man.
That's
like,
what it
everyone
is.
knows
I guess
cock-rocking
so.
kings.
that's what you got to be.
That's what I
Everyone
was
knows
trying to
John
think.
Wick. Everyone knows the cock-rocking
Cock
kings.
rocking
Yeah.
kings,
Dude,
And-
I love, we got to talk about just the cameos in this movie because it just fucking worked so well. Where every single scene, I was like, I just wanted to get to the next place because we're like, who's going to be there? Who the
Dude.
fuck is going to show up?
Somebody watched Fast and Furious in between Magic Mike 1 and Magic Mike 2 and was like, we have got to bring as many people back as possible and immediately start building the Magic Mice cinematic fucking universe out. Because if we can get, first off, fucking Michael Strahan was like, blew my mind. I was like, is that fucking Michael Strahan? Then we get in that same scene, Jada Pinkett Smith.
Killed it.
Unbelievable. Not a cameo, just in the cast of this movie throughout from her. Donald Glover in the movie.
Didn't expect that at all.
Fucking Elizabeth Banks just reprising her role from Pitch Perfect. I don't know which one came first, but I assume Pitch Perfect 1 came first. Holy
so.
shit. I want a third one of these movies so badly. What are you doing, Channing Tatum? Get off your duff. Get the abs back.
Figure it out. All right, Andy, hit me with the plot.
I'm feeling horny. Let's do it. Tell us the story.
Magic Mike, extra, extra large. If you ain't ready to bring it old school this weekend, then you need to hop the fuck off this food truck right now, Tim.
Yeah,
we
dude.
start and Mike is sad at an ocean. And he's like, boo, my life's not going well. And you're like, is it because you broke up with Brooke off screen? We didn't even see it. In fact, I thought they were still together because he opens up a cute little package and says, let's get fat together, which is what I say to my wife every time I want to get goldfish crackers. What did she say, Andy?
But he
No.
threw it away.
How
Oh,
did
is that
No
what-
way.
Why did she break up with him?
We don't
Because
know.
he tried to marry her. That's why.
Yeah.
She sucks.
Like,
This is what I've
I
always
love that
said.
This
Joey,
fucking
don't get married.
movie is entirely just like they know their audience. They're just like, no, we need Mike Single for this one. We got to go in. We got to go hard. And then they do. And then they end up in the place with all the old women. And I'm like, this is fantastic.
That place,
Yeah.
okay. Am I the only one that when we got to that scene, I was like 2% of me was like, Andy McDowell's gonna kill all these guys. Like these are. Did you think that? Okay, never mind.
They are going to be hanging up in a basement.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, so Mike, it opens up and Mike's on sitting at the ocean. He's very sad. We're not quite sure why, but hey, guess what? His dream of running a custom design company actually turned out, and it actually looks pretty cool, truth be told. He's got one employee, they're delivering stuff. It looks like it's hard work, but it looks like it's going okay. And I don't know if Kevin, if you watch this or not, but his work area, his like workshop looks really cool, and looks like he's having he actually looks like he knows what he's doing when he's making this furniture, which is great. But then Tarzan, what's up?
I didn't, but
You didn't watch
I
it?
want you to know every time you guys do the recap, I strongly regret it. I'm like, oh man, I wish
You
I
got to
had
watch it.
time.
Well, Kevin, we're not
You don't, need to
ruining
watch,
it.
you don't need to watch the
Still
first
was-
one, but watch this one.
We are not ruining
Yeah.
anything for you. In fact, if you want to just fast forward like I did watch this movie with Danielle to show her all the dances because she didn't even want to watch them. I was just like, you gotta fucking see this part. It's got anyway. Tarzan calls and tries to act, which is cute. Then the show is coming back through Tampa, but hey, bad news, man. Dallas has died, and like, apparently because they couldn't afford his salary for this. If Tim was correct, he heads to the dunes in for the wake. And here's Black Sabbath's Crazy Train guiding his way to the pool party.
I was thinking, like, just believe, like, the whole scene's framed around, like, do I hear distant sounds of stripping?
Yeah.
They're calling me.
Chris,
Like, this wouldn't have started had he not heard that.
I know. But what I love is that it's like stripping in this movie is a superpower. He is a legit, and he there is a moment we're gonna get to when he gets to the Domina, the underground mansion strip place, where
by a woman named Rome.
Rome, fucking great.
This fucking movie's awesome.
And she says, if you want me my help, you gotta repay me, and you have to repay me by dancing. And Tim, he acts like there's no way he's going back into that war. He's like,
I'm gonna talk about that scene for an hour.
Andy,
I just rewatch that scene on its own like once a year. That whole sequence is amazing.
Oh my god! Here we get some fun shenanigans. All the guys are there, including Joe Manganiello, who gets immediately naked and throws Mike in the pool. Turns out Dallas isn't dead. He just bailed on them and took Adam, the kid, quote unquote, to start a new show in Macau.
Hold on. Amazing. Because when Mike gets the call from Kevin Nash, I'm already cracking up when he's just like, Dallas is dead. I'm just
Dallas
like, that's literally like, that's how they're going to fucking do this. Like, that's insane. And then the next scene, it's like, nah, we're just fucking with you.
We're just fucking with you. We don't care.
And it's like, okay,
I feel like that just sets the stage for the movie of like, oh, you think that this is going to be like the last one that started very slow. No, we're full force into this movie, and this is going to be a good time.
This is a party.
Yeah.
And that's honestly one of the things I liked about it, right? Because this scene here establishes, hey, we're actually going to spend a lot of time with this group of guys. And that to me is the heart of the movie. And actually, I think that's what makes the movie really fun to watch, is because they're all ridiculously giving zero fucks about any character. They're just having a good time, and you have a good time too. The guys.
And at first, I was worried about this because I thought, why do I care about this cast of characters? Like, I don't know who the new guy is. The other people, I saw their dance routines, but I never really cared about their personalities, right? And then this movie gave me exactly what I wanted. It dove deeper into who they are. And I'll disagree with you a little bit, Nick. I think they do, like, they are very character like driven. There are a lot of Ken is the goody, the Zen master, always
the meditative.
He's always meditating. He's always trying to get a read on your chakra. And then you got Ernest, not Tarzan.
Ernest.
That is.
I also love that none of them remember his name for a little bit. They're like,
Yeah.
Well, oh, really? I guess that's what it is. Because I read it as, well, we always call you Tarzan. Are we gonna tell them that your name is Tarzan?
Yeah.
And I just like to be like, it's Ernest. Just call me Ernest. Like, it's okay.
Mike tells everyone that his business is good, but he kind of seems unhappy. And the boys are headed to Myrtle Beach for a convention with Tobias emceeing with his best McConaughey impression. Shout out to Gabriel Iglesias for he's like, all right. The guys seem super excited, and Mike is kind of sad because he's not dancing anymore. He kind of sees the energy of the group here, and he's like, oh, I do kind of miss this. Turns out his business is doing okay. Apparently it's staying afloat. He has one employee, and they have it was still having trouble putting his let's see, why isn't happy, doesn't matter. Turns out Tim, there's been something missing
Story
in
of
his
the
life
movie.
the entire
Why
time.
is this plot point happening? It doesn't matter.
Oh, I just got lost on my own. I generally write in like sentences instead of paragraphs so I don't get lost, and this one just had a few more things.
Every time they cut to Ken's giving him shitty looks, like, ugh, I'm not really happy that this guy's back. And you're like, okay, here's the tension. This is going to be the cause of tension. Oh no, they fix it in the couple scenes.
Well, actually, they don't. They fix each. If you guys like notice, he actually repairs each individual relationship as the story goes on. So like, there's a moment with Tito at the end where he's talking. He's like, "Hey man, do you think this yogurt business can really work?" And Mike's like, "Yeah, I really do, man." And he goes, "Listen, man, I'm really sorry I left." And Tito's like, "I don't know." And that's it. They fucking it's solved.
I guess so, but nobody like Ken acted the way Ken acted. Like,
Right.
Ken was the only one that
nobody
seemed
was,
like I am I am angry at you. Everybody else is just kind of chilling, like, "Hey, Mike's back, whatever."
Richie sort of does though, because Richie gives him the shit of being like, if you're going to be here, right? Like we wanted you back, and so there is that sort of like relationship that needs to get. Anyway, it's not beat you over the head, but
so much that if you're gonna be here. That happened in the first 60 seconds of this movie. Like there was conflict and resolution 60 seconds in.
I mean, jumping off this, I love since if he goes down the line like we're pairing relationships. I love the one with Tarzan. Like it's like the very end of the movie. He's like, we haven't had our scene yet. Like, do we? He even just says that with Tarzan. It's like, you and I haven't really talked. Are we good? And he's like, yeah.
By the way, that was right after we saw a glimpse, just a little glimpse of the Neo from the Matrix themed strip act. I'm like, why the fuck wasn't this in the movie?
For that point, and be like, is that what I think? I think it is, and
it is. It was Joe. God, there's an alternate cut where there's just all those things we saw. They're all there, including the Twilight dance. That was fucking amazing.
Yes.
That's honestly how I felt about this movie, where I wondered, am I watching the extended cut? Because I feel like so many of these scenes are just going on way too long. And I'm not talking about the good dance routines. I'm talking about like
the Andy McDowell stuff.
Just like, some of the side stuff and the characters that we don't really get to know just lasted a little bit too long for my taste. Like I want to see the boys doing badass shit. And that, oh my God, that final mirror sequence is the coolest shit of all
fucking
time.
Dope. But we're not quite there yet, ladies and gentlemen. We are.
Yeah, I love the high fives.
We are back at Mike's workstation, and he's unhappy. So he does what any one of us would do. He goes out to go weld and listen to mid-90s hip hop, and that's when it all changes for him, Tim. Because what comes over? This is, by the way, I don't know if you guys remember this, but this was the trailer for the movie. Like this was a teaser they put out where it was him like welding, and he hears it, and he just looks up in the mask, and he goes, "No."
I love him trying to fight him.
Is trying to pull him back in. He thinks he's out.
The world
pulling him back in.
Chris, the world needs him.
He has his calling.
This is
Spotify is calling him.
This is crime is happening and Spider-Man is done being Spider-Man. He doesn't want to be back in this world.
The sirens.
But they need him out there. The Vulture and the Sinister Six are joining back, and they need him back. Oh, it's incredible.
Tim, at first he shakes it off. No, Tim, I couldn't possibly dance again. But soon he comes to the same conclusion we all eventually come to. There's just no denying Genuine. Y'all got room for one more on this motherfucker?
Well, hold on. We got he starts welding to the beat of the song, like next to his crotch, and he's grinding it right in, and then he just can't shake the feeling.
It's unbelievable. Kevin, I just sent you the clips, and in your own time, I want you to just watch it all happen, because this is him getting consumed and brought back into the world of being a stripper. He couldn't run, he couldn't hide, but that song starts playing, and it's just like it just gets him, and I fucking love it.
You got to keep in mind that if this random song doesn't play at that random moment on the radio, this movie wouldn't happen.
Wow.
100%. See, the thing is Mike can leave the strip club, but the strip club will never leave Mike.
Yes, Joe. And the good thing is, Joe, he's never heard this song until that moment again.
The first time in 3 years it's come on the radio.
First time in 3 years, yeah.
One of the most popular songs to come out of the 90s. Oh, man. It's funny. I was watching this with Dee last night. I showed her this specific one, because I think the dance here, by the way, is awesome. Channing Tatum's ability to actually do gymnastics while he's dancing,
all over that place.
He does a thing where he spins off a table onto the wall, onto a stool, takes the stool with him as it's spinning. It's unbelievably good. But I showed it to Dee. I was like, you got to watch this scene. And of course, you guys know that Dee used to be a professional dancer back in the day. And she's like, professional dancers don't really do this. They don't just start dancing when no one's watching. And this was the first time in my life, Tim, I was like, I got you on this one, because I just looked at her. She goes, fuck, you're right. We do this. We do this. We used to do this all the time. I was like, I've fucking seen you do this. Or you don't think anyone's looking. You're out there just breaking that. I mean, dude, if I had that ability, I would fucking be constantly entertaining myself like that. As is, Warzone. That's what I do. Mike finds the guys the next day, and it's time to go to Myrtle Beach. Then they talk about boy bands, and Joe Manganiello's opinions are just total fucking garbage. Mike answers some emails, and the guys give him shit for not being present. So Joe Manganiello, so Richie, I'll start calling him by his character's name, throws his phone out the window. Quote, if you ain't ready to bring it old school this weekend, when then you need to hop the fuck off this food truck right now to get their mojo up. They head to Mad Mary's, and it's fucking fantastic. The MC's name is Tori Snatch. And full stop, I'm in. Where's this club? Let's go. Tori offers $400 to the best amateur dancer in Jacksonville, and Magic Mike immediately answers the challenge. He's like, "You want to go down this fucking rabbit hole?" And he looks at him, and I'm thinking, this is going to be the most lit shit ever, and it's just okay. Everyone is just okay in this scene, except for Mike. He does a pretty good job. And then let's see, the rest of the guys follow. Later that night, Tobias, they all go down to the beach, and they start talking. They start comparing their businesses and what they want to do after stripping, and none of it sounds real at all or good. Richie's plan, of course, is for the condom mints, but they already have it literally everywhere. Ken brought up his wife and gets aggressive with Mike, so they have a therapy session because Ken's mad that he left, and Ken punches him in the gut, but he's not happy about it. Mike goes to pee, and Amber Heard is there doing some Instagram shooting on the beach because she wants to be a real photographer, even though she has a point and click. Man, I'll tell you, if you thought Brooke was bad in this one, they didn't even try with Amber Heard's character.
I mean, I appreciate
she
how
got
little
less
they
screen
tried.
time.
Yeah, they were just like, I guess she's here. Why was she even here? To call her a love interest is like not even accurate.
When she was absent for 80% of the middle of the movie, it kind of occurred to me, like, I guess she's just not in the movie anymore. And then she showed up at that mansion. I was like, oh, okay, this is why they did that earlier. But what a weird coincidence, I guess. Like, I missed something. I don't know.
No, it's very strange because normally this character would have been a character that helped Mike realize that it's actually okay to like pursue his like dream of owning a strip club or doing whatever he wants to do. But she just kind of is there. And then that's it. So and my question is, like, if you needed romance in this, was the bromance not enough? That was me dropping the mic for anyone that's listening to this. Anyway, she starts taking pictures of Mike while he pees, and I'm not going to read the rest of that sentence, Nick. Don't write late at night. They talk about their inner drag queens, and Mike is called Clitoria Labia, and Zoe, who is Amber Heard's character, is Dolly Tits. Guys, and at this point, I'd be like this. Maybe let's try writing some dialogue for the next one, huh, guys? Like you're allowed to have a script for these movies. You don't need to let Amber Heard and fucking Channing Tatum improv these names.
First one was the same way. What are you talking about? Like,
I'm just saying, you think they would have learned for the first one, hey, this made some money? Like, we could hire Nick Scarpino and Chris Anka to write Magic Mike XXL, and we'll come with the heat.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine?
Nick, you just said, oh, I don't want to read that line. Let me not, don't write stuff late at night, Nick.
So now it's just a whole movie of that.
Exactly. But I oddly enough, I think that my particular perspective would be perfect for the trilogy. If you're watching out there, whoever produced this, probably Channing Tatum and his mom. I don't know. I don't know who produces these fucking movies. Anyway, Zoe asks him if he's up to going over to the island and hanging out. But he's like, nah, I don't want to do that. And she's like, what are you up to? He goes, well, we're heading to this big stripper convention. And she's like, oh, the one in Myrtle Beach, because everyone's heard of this stripper convention. She's like, I'm heading to New York. She's trying to avoid ending up on the pole like Mike. And he's like, what the fuck? Like, that's not a cool thing to say. Zoe wants to go to the island, and Mike's like, you know what? I don't want to date anyone. I'm still not over Brooke. We don't know that yet because they didn't really set that up that well. Ken and Mike make up the next morning. Tito got some of the girls' phone numbers, and apparently they decided to write it on that little part of his body that I'll never have. And Richie apparently has a penis too big for sex, which is the main conflict of the movie for him.
Yeah,
in this.
honestly, that is his challenge. That is his character.
And I gotta be honest.
They were like, listen, we gave him the nickname Big Dick Richie in the first one, and now we just really need to dig into that. That's what everybody wants.
You know, Andy, if I'm being honest, you know, you'll appreciate this. I'm sure the struggle is real.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's a blessing and a curse. You know, with great
mostly a blessing.
Great power comes great responsibility. But I love the whole glove. Jeans. You have to find your glove or the shoe. Sorry, the shoe has to fit. The glass slipper has to fit. My God, like all of that, and then the solution. Like, we'll get to it.
Let's see. So, okay, we've got the phone number. They head off to Georgia. They all take Molly, and their plan, and then plan their attack for the convention. Army dance first, then Raining Men, then solos. Pony. Mike wants to make up some new shit, but they only have 2 days. Dallas picked all their stuff. They should pick music and dancing and the dances that appeal to them. And he's like, well, we're gonna be rolling pretty soon here, so we got to figure this shit out. And then it cuts to 54 minutes later, and this fucking scene is great. They are all just rolling on Molly. And I've never done Molly before, but I imagine that I'd be just as cool as Channing Tatum in this scene. They send Richie in to make a convenience store clerk feel super awkward, but Backstreet Boys starts playing, so that's all fine. Also, holy fuck me when he takes his shirt off in this scene.
God damn. Time stopped.
Andy, can we do it? Can we do it now?
I thought we were saving it towards the end to rank all of them.
Okay, good call.
I also have a carrot in my mouth.
That's fair enough. I saw that.
Before we go on, let me tell you about our sponsor. This episode is brought to you by MeUndies. I absolutely love MeUndies. I wear it all the time. As you guys see, my t-shirts are all MeUndies at this point because I love that soft micro-modal fabric. And guess what? They also make undies and socks and lounge pants and hoodies and onesies. It's crazy. They offer everything that you can put on your body, and you should. It's fantastic because while right now I'm wearing pretty much all black head to toe, they got a ton of options, especially when it comes to the undies. They have a whole bunch of different prints. There's bold prints, adventurous prints, classic prints. Right now, I'm just wearing green ones, just a classic green. Don't want to get too crazy. But tomorrow, who knows? Maybe I'll get some pizza on some neon blue. It's great. I love having choices. You could too have choices by going to MeUndies.com/morning. That's MeUndies.com/morning to get 15% off your first order and free shipping. MeUndies.com/morning. Continue.
He finishes
I do love
the
that
dance.
Channing Tatum just gives him like a little just therapy session. Like, Richie, you don't want to be a firefighter, and that's where this all comes from.
He's like, I have a
Fire phobia.
I have a phobia. But
That
also,
is so funny.
he's chewing gum in the scene because he's got. Did you catch that? He's like,
No.
you don't want to be a firefighter, man. You don't even like fire. Fucking great. These guys are having a great time.
It's a great sequence. Like, why do you like this? Do you actually like the song though? No, I mean, no, not really. Like, do you play it on your own when you're just alone? No, then why do you have it? It's so stupid, but I love it. It's so
Me too.
dumb.
It's
and
great.
I love. So we see the scene that's amazing of him in the gas station or whatever, dancing and all that. But I love. This is the first time we see the bromance like at full capacity of all of them outside the window, like cheering him on. I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, thank you for getting us to this moment so quickly because it can only go up from here. It can only go up, and it does.
Of course, he finally gets a smile out of the clerk when he says, "How much for the Cheetos and water?" And then Joe, and then anyway, at this point I wrote, I demand a third movie. I just feel like we should boycott the rest of this review until we get a third movie. Of course, Tobias passes out and drives him into the woods. Maybe don't give the driver Molly. Everything has gone to shit. So Richie starts complaining. He wanted this to be his last ride, but it's
I
all
love that.
fucked
Yeah,
up.
I shouldn't have closed my eyes.
Yeah, he's like, I should have made you reach back. Yeah, I shouldn't have closed my eyes. Yeah, you should have closed your fucking eyes. Mike finally tells the guys he's like, listen, everything's gone to shit for me too. I only have one employee and I can't even get him healthcare. Also, I proposed to Brooke and she said no. It just wasn't what she wants. He's like, I came on this trip to just get on with it. So they can't let the train stop here. All we need is a rental car, but Mike has a better idea. He knows an MC in Savannah. And at this point I was like, oh, they're gonna call the girls, right? Because it'll be a girls and boys trip. No. Let's introduce a whole new cast of characters here, which is the greatest thing. They head to a really weird mansion called Domina to talk to Rome, who at first I was like, who's it going to be, right? Who are we bringing back from the first movie? Fuck that, Tim. Without Matthew McConaughey, you got that nice open spot. You got to bring in a heavy hitter, and that heavy hitter is Jada Pinkett Smith.
Every line that she has is perfectly delivered.
She dominates this movie. She is so good in every single scene. From the first time you see her in the lingerie, just getting like ready to size up Mike, and then all the way to like just her and Elizabeth Banks, like whatever the hell happened there, and the whole end scene in the final act.
Whatever the hell. Such a good point, Chris.
Superb.
Whatever the hell.
A kiss between them was filmed, but didn't make the final cut.
Oh, you can tell, like there's a close up in which their faces are really close, and then it cuts to them really far. I'm like, no, they did something.
Yeah. Jada Pinkett Smith in this movie is Lawrence Fishburne in John Wick.
Yes.
Every line of dialogue is poetry.
So
Like,
fun.
Yeah.
Everything they say sounds like a Shakespearean play where this is not how humans talk, but I am for this sort of legendary mythical creature that you are in this world. It's so
She does
great.
naturally what McConaughey tried to do. Like McConaughey
Yeah.
plays the character, and
Yeah.
Jada is just this
Yeah.
person. And
She's
I
in
will
it.
say
radiant.
both of them though, both Dallas and Jada Pinkett Smith have the same vibe as the tall lady from Resident Evil 8, where I'm just like, do
Yeah,
whatever you
yeah.
want to me.
Sure,
I'm in.
yeah. Yeah.
Wow. I gotta play Resident Evil 8.
Not out yet.
Of course, Mike tells her the score, and they make out a little bit, and then she's like, "Let me show you around. The place has changed." "Freaking You" by Jodeci starts playing as Rome starts showing Mike around, and they watch Michael Strahan throw
Yeah, they
oil
do.
all over the place and get freaky. And Andy, this is how lame I am. My first thought is someone's gonna slip on that oil. They're just gonna slip.
Yeah, be careful.
Yeah, it looks like a trip
Lost it
hazard.
on their hands.
Then
I
another
would
male
love
stripper.
to know what the conversation looked like to get him on board for this movie. Like, is this something that he wanted into? Did they pitch it to him? Like, how much convincing did it take? Because I like to think that he just, hey, they want you in Magic Mike XXL, and he was like, yes.
I
Yes.
also got to
Conversation.
assume he wasn't the first choice. Like
It is pretty
Damn,
random.
Andy.
it's just
fucked
random.
up.
Like obviously he's a massive celebrity. He's a household name. You know what? He probably was the first choice because he is what
Was he no back then? Was he
person
doing the morning
like
show?
wants to be that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So he's been doing the
Started in
morning show forever.
2012, so yeah.
Everybody knows who he is, and he's a stud muffin, not only on the morning show but also on all the NFL stuff he does. So you know what? Yeah, he was the first choice. Shame on me for saying
Okay.
How dare you, dude?
I'm looking it up. I'm looking it up now. It all started because Channing Tatum came on live with Kelly and
Oh,
Michael to
wow.
promote Magic Mike 1. And during that appearance, there's a video of him tearing away his pants and him and Channing Tatum stripping together. So
Oh my gosh.
that was his audition.
That's great.
incredible.
bless.
Sign him up for number 3, man. It's a fucking. Here's what I'm really pissed about. When we get to the third act of this movie, where was Michael Strahan? That's the
Yeah,
big. That's
I
what's
agree.
gonna. Honestly, that's what takes this movie, Tim, from 5 stars to 4.5 stars for me on
I
Amazon Prime.
totally agree with you right there, Nick.
Of course, they walk around. We get another stripper comes in, and he's a fucking really good dancer, and he does that thing that Mike does, where he humps the floor, and it's somehow simultaneously slow and fast, but but also powerful when he does it. Rome,
His moves are insane.
Malik.
He's a.
That's Malik.
Do you guys, isn't that
Malik's
because that's Twitch, right? Do you guys know Twitch? He's on. He is like the DJ and dancer guy that's on the Ellen Show, and before that, he was on. So you think you can dance? So he's
Oh,
like a
wow.
legit dancer.
the way.
Interesting.
I mean, it's obvious he's a legit dancer because the way this man's torso moves to all of the melody hits in that song were mesmerizing. It's just the amount of sort of like just on beat he was. It was so fucking good. And of course, you're like, wow, this is Black Magic Mike. Like they are the same person, except this guy younger, right? He's a little bit like he's a little bit younger in his game, Magic Mike. Getting close out of the prime. We're leaving the prime era of Magic Mike. Wears the
One last
same hat
ride.
the same way. Like this, he looks the exact same, and which makes the mirror dance just even more perfect.
Yes.
So good. Of course, Rome singles out a woman in the crowd so she can have Andre, played by Donald Glover.
Donald fucking Glover.
How
Show her.
shocked were you guys when he showed up?
Full on loud gasp. Where I was like, excuse you? What? And then he just starts singing a Bruno Mars song. And I'm like, okay, was every single person in the theater just soaking wet everywhere after
Oh,
this?
I was
Yeah,
in my
pretty
chair,
much.
and I was like, thank God my chair is ventilated because
Oh, jeez.
be sliding
Again-
right out of this fucking thing.
Again, though, this is one of those scenes that felt like because initially I'm wondering, I don't think Donald Glover's really going to be in this movie a whole lot. And this seems like one of those scenes that is an extended sequence. As if they thought the movie was going to be really, really short. Guys, we got to hit this. Like, we're only right now at 64 minutes of a runtime, but really they had the math wrong. And it's like, this movie's 2 hours long. Like, so like this singing sequence, it was cool, but it went on a little too long for me. I was like, where's this going? And then the car ride is where I was like, oh, I think Donald Glover's actually along for the ride. You know what? I appreciate him being in that sequence. Not for that
Yeah.
long though.
The
No.
singing scene is the only scene in the movie I tend to skip because I find singing in public super awkward. But what I really like about
feel
it, and
that,
like,
I feel
what I
that.
really like in his character is that it's like it emphasizes the whole underlying point of like there's different ways to pleasure women and pleasure your partner, and you know these are guys who are doing it with their body. Here's someone who can do it with their voice and talking to somebody and having this connection. So they're you know, the whole thing with the whole Rome's whole character is that we provide different kinds of services. in
Yeah,
this.
these women are not happy with their significant others. They're coming to us to get healed. It's so dumb but great.
Love it. Of course, Rome is not happy with Mike for the way they left it. So when he asks her for help and tells her they're going to the convention, which is the real reason why he's there, she's like, I don't want it. He tries to convince her one more time and says, fuck the convention. All of this is just an excuse for us to put this shit to bed, but she's still not having it. But if Mike wants to start down the road to forgiveness, he's going to have to earn it, Tim.
Mm-hmm.
She introduces him to the crowd as white chocolate. And we're going to see if this man still has some magic.
Joey,
and then,
does he still have magic?
Oh, he never. This isn't a we're bringing sexy back kind of thing. He always had the magic. He's never lost
I
it.
love that he tries to fight it. He
And
for
she
a
calls him out.
for a millisecond, you know, she's introducing him, and this is a huge moment. And you're looking at Channing Tatum, and he's like, "Well, first off, if you're gonna try to back out, Channing Tatum, you got to do it way earlier before she gives you before she announces all the nicknames. You got to be like, no, don't do this, no, don't even think about it.
I don't know.
But
Sure,
after
it's
like
awkward.
the full introduction, he's like, come on, dude, not right now. And then who takes his place?
She's like, Malik.
And we're like, oh shit, this is done. But again, this is a Fast and Furious moment where it's like, all right, he got in his car, I'm gonna get in my car right now. I'm gonna fucking rev this engine, dude. It was incredible.
He flips over Malik into Jaden Pinkett's face. Stares at my favorite part is the woman right next to Jaden Pinkett's bed who loses her
Going
shit.
wild.
Just seeing Jaden, she's like, "Oh shit!" and just starts throwing money at Jaden for just standing there.
Yeah, there was a lot of money.
Oh my
My-
god!
The notable moments that I wrote down in here, because I took copious notes on this particular scene, is when he bends two women over and then does dips to the right and dips to the left just to spread it all around, then takes another woman, stacks her up on the other two women, and somehow simultaneously dry humps all three of them while other women rain down $1 bills on him.
Oh my God.
And there's
It
a
was
moment
amazing.
where I watched it twice. It doesn't go slow-mo, but my brain couldn't process it fast enough. So my brain just went slow-mo. And I was like, this is the movie I want to make one day. This is it. I want to Hell Magic Mike 3.
The one that always gets me is when he picks up the woman upside down and he walks over and in a smooth roll,
Yeah.
you know, puts her right side up
Yes.
on the chair and then flips over her upside down. That I always stand
Oh, he
up
does
and
that. He like a handstand
Gravity
in her crotch.
defying.
Yeah.
He does two things. He does that, and then he does the thing where he's behind her and then uses just a little tip of the chair to swing around her and then like straddle her.
It's one of those things where I'm like, Channing Tatum, where's the wire work? Surely there's wire work around
It's
here.
his abs. His abs is
His
the
abs
wire.
are His abs are green screen. Oh man, this scene is it's great.
It's amazing.
Let's see. Rome asks Andre to take him to wherever they want to go. Mike tells the guy that Rome isn't going to help them, and they're like, "Oh, that sucks." And then Ken and Andre bond over their music careers, and I hope this ends with Ken producing Andre, but it does not. They head to Megan's house, but it's really not Megan's house. It's Andy McDowell's house, and she wants to get
Another random
them
one.
drunk. Now, I want to ask everyone: do you know who Andy McDowell is?
No.
Yes,
Yes.
she's just like an old actress.
I recognize
from-
her.
Me too.
She's from Groundhog's Day, right?
The notable, my touchstones for her are Groundhog Day and 4 Weddings and a Funeral is the movie that I remember her being in, which is she's fabulous in both. She's, of course, in a lot more movies than that.
Who's the actor that she's always playing opposite of? You got curly
Hugh
dark
Grant?
hair. Oh, nah, maybe it was Hugh Grant, actually. I'm thinking of somebody else, I think.
She's been in a ton of movies. I think she was in a movie called Duplicity also. I think she played the wife in that, but I could be wrong. Anyway, that was with Michael Keaton. Anyway, she's a great actor. And the fact that she's doing a terrible Southern Belle accent in this makes it all the better. Man, the scene goes on for so long. And it's one of those things where like you actually feel awkward because you're like, we're on the precipice here. Is this going to turn into freak nasty or is it just going to stay awkward for the rest of the night? Channing Tatum, of course, spots Zoe, who's there, and he's like, I'll help you get some more wine. And this scene's just terrible improv as well.
Again, yeah, so many of these scenes feel like the extra scenes on a DVD that didn't make the final
That's
cut.
fair.
Yeah.
So many of them.
Megan's mom, as they start getting more drunk, tells all the guys she's only ever had sex with one man, Megan's dad, and then
Which
Kevin.
is one of the most bizarre things to be said on film, and like for that to then end the way it does, it's like, okay, this movie's just
It's a
going there.
beautiful movie.
I mean,
It's a
We
beautiful
get
This is
Kevin
where it
Nash's
needs to go.
heartfelt moment.
He says,
Heartbreaking.
I traded all in to come home. He's like, I've done as much sex as you can possibly do, and I traded all to come home to a wife and kid who love him, and it really takes the fucking mood down. And then
Yeah,
the
but I
scene
feel
still
for
goes
him.
on.
Like I love how when he says that, a couple of them are like, I love you, bro. Like we're here for you. You know, like it's just bros being, just want to be family. They want to be there for each other. And yeah, I really liked that moment.
Just let him be there.
And the scene should have cut, but it doesn't. It still goes on until Matt Bomber starts singing, and he actually has a really good voice. And I'm like, I wonder if he laid down some songs that are untitled for the soundtrack of this movie. And he did, which is weird as shit. It's the one he sings at the end. He sings his own song at the end of this movie. Fact check me, but I'm pretty sure that was him singing his own song. That was a original track made for Magic Mike.
Oh, I thought he was
XXL.
covering that.
No, that's him singing his own voice.
That's hella
At
funny.
least that's
I
what
knew
the
it was his voice.
X-ray.
I knew it was his voice. I just didn't know it was his song.
Yeah, that's what that one piece of trivia that popped up for me said. Fact check me on that one. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. And I think also Donald Glover made a song for the soundtrack as well that he sings.
I think it was just the cover of the Bruno Mars song. I think
No, he sings a song at the end about. Oh, is that what it was? Because it said it was him singing "Mary." By Donald Glover.
That's Bruno Mars.
Okay, never mind.
Do you know that he and Joe Manganiello went to college together?
Who, Donald Glover?
No, Matt Bomber.
Oh, that makes sense. I guess.
I was
Maybe that's how the
jumping
guys get
around
hooked up
on-
with this.
Jumping ever since.
Exactly.
Went to
Mike
Abs
and-
college.
Richie puts it all out there. Okay. Then he starts dancing with the woman, and the scene went from awkward to sexy, and then immediately back to awkward. Richie puts it all out there. She's like, "Well, you guys are all having a great time, and if this were back in my day," and Richie's like, "I'd say it's still your day, ma'am." And so Andy McDowell pops his hood, both figuratively.
Pops the hood.
Actually, there's no figuratively in this. It's all just literally pops his hood.
Like, you kind of flirt with me. I'm gonna take your shirt off now.
Yes. And we're going to see it. Mike and Zoe have another awkward scene, and Mike invites her one more time to Myrtle Beach, but she's like, "Oh, I don't know." And he's like, "I can help bring your smile back." And she's eating a red velvet cake just from the fucking center out. And I'm like, "You're a monster, but that looks so good." He says, "Listen, I can guarantee you one thing. Strippers will bring your smile back." Mike wakes up the next day sleeping next to Tarzan, and Richie and Nancy did it. And they go, "Did you bangy?" And he goes, "I bangied." And I'm like, that's actually kind of
This
a
whole
cute way of saying
sequence
that.
is so funny because he didn't say anything at all. I loved how he's just kind of doing these little facial gestures and kind of moving his head, and they're like, "Wait, did you?" And he's just like, like it just made me laugh.
Is she the
so
one?
hard.
Is she the glass slipper?
Yeah, the more questions there are, the more kind of head nodding kind of shrugs there are. I fucking love this sequence.
The fact
Joe
that this movie has-
Manganiello plays this so perfectly.
Like,
Well,
this
and it
scene has
doesn't
such an
feel
amazing
creepy.
Cinderella.
Yeah, which is what I like about it. It's not like, oh, like typical bro, like, oh, you banged her. It was like they were genuinely happy for him because this is something he'd like struggled
This
with or
is the
something. I was like,
struggle's
I was
real.
not expecting this like kind of weirdly heartfelt moment.
About his giant dick.
Yes.
Yeah.
About his schwanz. Nancy apparently was the glass slipper. Also, she let him borrow the keys to her ex-husband's car that just turns out to be a Rolls Royce. And she's like, "I don't care what condition you bring it back in, just bring it back." I'd be like, "Guys, don't put a fucking scratch on this car," because the paint job alone is probably $50,000. When they get to Myrtle Beach, Rome is there waiting for them with Andre and Malik. Time to get down to business. She's in after all. And then we get a montage of them all figuring out the new routine, which includes a trip to Ace Hardware and Radio Shack. That night, Mike settles things with Tito in the hotel. And then finally, the convention is upon us. And we get introduced to Paris, played by Elizabeth Banks, who is signing people in. And at first, she's like, "Tim, we just don't have a spot for you," until Rome steps in and they almost make out. And apparently there's another cut where they do make out. And I'm not quite sure why they didn't put that into this movie. Potentially because that would have just been one piece of hotness too far, and my mind would have exploded.
Yeah.
And then we're off to the convention. What is the convention, Andy? I don't fucking know.
Stripper, I guess. Like it
Is there a show
like,
for? Like,
I don't. I got to assume this is one of the main ballrooms, but again, people are partying. And it's probably 1:35 p.m. Like it's so bizarre.
apparently, she's like Rome talks them into getting the coveted 10:20 spot, which is I think is just a hilarious. So 10:20. Not 10:30. You're running your convention. So people's that 20-minute shows. What are the shows here?
So regimented.
It's the increment of time that you're allowed to be on stage for. You know what I mean? Is that allowing a 10-minute intermission to clean up all the oil and like glitter? I don't know.
Oh God.
I digress. Backstage, everyone is getting ready, which includes Spartans from 300 and Neo from the Matrix. And then Mike finally settles things with Tarzan. Then there's a Twilight routine that crushes on stage, and the boys get super nervous. They're like, I don't know, man. That looks really, really cool. And then Richie freaks out, and Mike gives him a game day speech and fires everyone up. But as he starts, he's like, what are we? And they're like, male entertainers. And he goes, what are we? And then Rome interrupts, and she's like, it's not bro time. It's show time.
Fuck yeah.
Let's go.
But they give the chant anyway, like it's male entertainers. And then Paris gives them a stirring intro, and the boys hit the stage as the newly formed Res Erection.
Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you,
Inspired.
everyone involved in making these movies.
And at first, I had to roll it back for a second because I was like, is it resurrection or how did they spell it? And I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be Res Erection.
Erection.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes total sense. Zoe watches in the crowd as they take the stage, and they do a quick little first number, which is kind of lazy. And then it's on to the solos because that's really kind of where this movie needs to go. Then Rome hits the stage
But
and
you
takes
can't
everyone up.
deny the part where they're all walking in the jeans is a moment. It's a moment.
And it's a duel of fates, and they're fucking walking out in slow-mo, and spotlights are hitting them as they all pose like fucking Adonis gods. It's amazing.
Who the fuck expected Duel of the Fates to start playing? Because again, like I didn't think that this movie could surprise me as many times as it did. Like I see like Pony starts playing again, and I'm like, oh. Then I see Donald Glover, and I'm like, oh. And then they start playing Duel of the Fates, and I'm just like,
So
I'm like
weird.
the kid in that GIF. Like,
I can't deal with it. It's too much. Let's see. First up on stage is Tarzan, the artist who throws glitter. Then Tito comes on stage as the Candy King dancing to Candy Shop. And let's just say things get sticky with chocolate sauce.
This
and
is another question I have about this convention is like, so now these women just have chocolate and whipped cream all over them for
they knew what they were
the
getting
rest of the
themselves into,
show.
Joey. They knew what they were getting themselves into. If you don't get
That's
a little, like they say at the stripper conventions, if you're not coming out sticky, did you even go?
There's kind of a whole thing about the whole
I don't know,
sequence
Tim.
that bugs me. Is like I mean, it has to be. They had to have all given consent before they came in the door, because the shit that happens to them, like the one woman just gets left up there in that harness for like 3
Yeah, she was fine with it. It's good for her.
Everything that happens to Amber Heard in that mirror scene, it's like she doesn't want to be up there. She's clearly uncomfortable by all of this, and no one asked her. She just got dragged on stage.
She had the same feedback, and I was like, I have to imagine that there's just a sign outside that says by entering in here, you're gonna get freak nasty. Things are gonna get freak nasty, and then it's a little asterisk. Then you go down and in very small print, it defines what freak nasty is, and it's haunting.
And then there's 3 women who just have their dresses are covered in chocolate syrup now.
Oh, yeah.
And he's just rubbing on them, and that scene gives me so much anxiety. I'm like,
I mean, I'll be honest.
Put up the slippery when wet little signs, everywhere.
Chris, I don't think that woman can get out of the sex swing by herself. I think she needs help.
She needs him to take it back out.
When they cut back after the final dance and she's still in the fucking swing.
still there to this day.
I want to say 2 things about the Twilight thing really fast. I thought that were really funny. This came right after True Blood ended, so it was like a vampire jab from Joe Manganiello. Was kind of like he's shitting on True Blood, which everyone's like, oh haha, because he was in a vampire show forever. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie, but it's the guy who plays Edward and it's the guy who plays Jacob, and then it's the guy who plays Bella's dad dancing on Bella.
Wait, is it really?
Yeah, he's got the mustache, but the woman's supposed to be Bella, and the guy behind her is her dad. He's like, guys, you gotta stop. And then he gets into the dance, and I'm like, so the context there is that her dad's dancing on her. Okay.
Okay.
I forget what they say, but don't they at one point say, let's go fuck that vampire or something like that as they're leaving the stage? It's genius. It's just genius. Anyway, next up we get King Ken dancing to us, actually singing rather, and then dancing to the song "How Does It Feel?" And then Andre takes the stage next and starts flowing. And I'm so glad Donald Glover said yes to this fucking project. I'm actually really glad it didn't ruin his career. Richie's up next, looking dapper in a tuxedo with a bridal themed dance to Donald Glover singing to him, and that turns very quickly into an S&M themed wedding night, complete with a sex swing set to "Closer" by Nine Inch Nails. And I'll tell you what, guys, this song always brings back memories of the movie Seven for me, and it's a little traumatic.
I feel you. Like this, it's traumatic, but like, God, was this
God,
scene
it's
hot?
nasty.
Dude,
It's
this song
fucking
rule. Like, yeah, this
oh,
song is the
no.
perfect song choice, dude. Like, it's just so good, dude.
Notable costume
Help
choice here.
me! Like, it's
I'm
so
tear
crazy.
apart my insides. I love that Joe Manganiello is wearing knee pads for no reason. Doesn't use them once. Just threw them on so he could look like a WWE wrestler.
Yeah.
And finally, it's time for the magic. Rome pulls Zoe up from the audience and another woman to take mirrored chairs as Mike and Malik do an amazing mirrored dance, which had to have taken longer than a day to put together. If not,
props.
I'm going to tell you this, Tim. If this took one day to put together, give them the stripper Oscar now. I don't know what people win at this convention, if it's a Golden Globe or an Emmy, a daytime Emmy, maybe. I don't know. Give it to them.
It's not my favorite part of the sequence, but I want to give a shout out to the fact of how Rome introduces them.
Mm-hmm.
And she comes like, you know what you're here for? These guys need no introduction. And then she just walks off.
Yeah.
Like
To which my wife responded, are they just world renowned? Do people know who they are? And I'm like, no, they don't. She should have given them an introduction.
I think everyone here knows who Magic Mike is.
I guess,
And
but
everyone
like
knows
it's
who
not.
Malik is.
It's
like
not
the
really
way-
set up in the world that he is this famous ex
Yeah.
guy. We just sort
But you
of
have
get
to-
moments of that.
He's John Wick,
If you're-
guys. Everyone
If you're
knows
going
him.
to a stripper convention, you would have to assume that you are familiar
In it.
with
Yeah, you're in this.
strippers.
It's like,
the
oh,
A-list
you know,
strippers.
I don't really know Game Grumps, but I've heard of them. That's them over
Sure.
there. at this
Everyone at the
convention or
Continental
whatever.
knows who John Wick is.
Yeah.
Everyone at, as the chat's saying, Don Con knows who Magic Mike is.
Gong Con. That is great.
The funniest thing though is like I immediately equated it to at a concert when the opener comes up and tries to get the crowd hype and everyone's like, I don't give a fuck. Let's wait for the main event. You know, like we only care about the headliner. But everybody here is just so stoked to see awesome abs, like super hot dudes, and it's like
Got it.
you know what? This isn't a concert. This is a life-changing experience.
This dance is so amazing. It makes every second of the near 2-hour runtime of this movie worth it. They do shit in
Such a
here. At
long
one
movie.
point, he does like a berimbolo on her, and it's like some jujitsu shit where he takes her back, and then she's belly down, and I'm like, and like Amber Heard, shout out to her because her reactions are my reactions. I'm like, oh.
He almost bashes her head, so he swings her down so fast. I'm like, I think she's like stunned for a second
mean-
because she get her head on the ground.
There's definitely a moment where they put I guess this came from stripping, Tim. I don't know because I don't watch wrestling, so I don't know which came first, stripping or wrestling, male stripping or wrestling. Probably the same thing, probably a offshoot of the same discipline. But he does the thing where is it a pile driver when you put someone's legs up here and then you just smash down on the knees? And it reminds me of that one time that Greg almost paralyzed a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway,
As the dance is concluding, they have a really bad line of ADR where he says, "I see you got your smile back," and the other woman is still in the sex swing. Then the guys,
she's back there going, "Help me!"
Well, she's probably just staring at Joe Manganiello's ass because he's just
Fucking
standing
A.
there. He's just like hanging out, like, oh, what's
He's
going
like,
on?
"What's up?"
I would
Oh.
be.
I love that this Mike scene has 3 song changes.
It's
It's
great.
so long.
Everyone else just like Tarzan's thing goes up for 20 seconds, and then
Yeah.
theirs
Yeah.
goes on for like 4 minutes.
My internet kept going out while I was watching this part, and I kept on having to wait for the router to come back on. So You know, it was the sequence was maybe 5-6 minutes, but it felt way longer than it really was because I kept on having to get the internet back on and rewind all the way back. And sometimes I would fast forward and be like, oh shit, it's still going if I go that far. Wow, this is really
Dude,
long.
what's amazing about it though is every single song is like they didn't have the music budget to reorchestrate the song, so they just end like they would like when you were doing something in junior high and you didn't have the audio
There's no
capability
fade.
to edit. There's no fave. It's like a hard cut to the end of the song off beat. So you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like
close enough.
it's so bad.
Andy, hit me with a little haiku in review.
There we are.
7 syllables in the middle. You need 5 for the first and last line. Wait, we didn't talk about the fireworks at the bay. What the fuck was that?
You know, Andy, because there were no fireworks at the bay. You never saw fireworks. You heard fireworks. You saw lights on their faces, but we never saw what they were seeing because the budget of this movie is not that big. But we
What
still
a bizarre ending.
we still got
There's
the
a part
feeling.
when that song starts. What song was at the end?
All we do is win.
All we do
Yeah.
is win, win, win. No
You know
matter
what
what.
it felt
Oh my
like? I was
gosh.
like, oh, we're at the middle of the movie. They've hit the turning point. We have 2 more hours. We have like an hour and a half left.
We're not
Like,
wrapping up. They did
It
it.
felt like they hit a triumphant part in the movie, like because I had to be stopping the movie so much, and like turning it back on. All I do is win. It's like, oh, they won the first dance tournament. Now it's time for the second
Yeah.
tournament. Like,
Nope. Again, no tournament. There's no reward in this.
It's
There's
just a
nothing.
competition.
This
It's
is
just
a
a showcase.
exactly.
Just the dance. And also, apparently, they make money when they're there because they get to keep the ones. Apparently, I don't know. We also get a pony remix at the end of this. That is okay. It's fine.
So
Yeah, I liked how desolate it all was, though. But
Yeah.
Miscellaneous writes in to patreon.com/kindoffunny with their review in haiku form. Time with Dallas done. Going on one final run. And Mike joins the fun. Problems they did see. They met a MILF that showed she revered
The big D. Oh my god.
Yes.
Wow.
It only comes back.
Set up montage plays. Of course, their performance slays. Set the place ablaze.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Now, Andy, hit me off with a little bit of that. Rank those abs.
Were they born in labs? Now it's time to rank those abs.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast within a podcast. Rank those abs. I'm your host, Nick Scarpino, alongside the full crew of Magic Mike Double XL. Last week, of course, we put Joe Manganiello's abs cut above everyone else's. And I cannot in good conscience say that we shouldn't do exactly the same again. His definition and the amount of bulk he has on his abs don't make sense in my brain. It shouldn't be allowed to have both, Andy. You either have definition or you have bulk. You can't have both. His body looked perfect to me in this. I do want to give a notable shout out, though, to Tito. Actually, I think Adam Rodriguez had really, really, really good abs in this as well. I think he kind of took it up a notch and was like, I'm gonna put some bulk on my frame. And then of course Matt Bomber looked fantastic as well.
I wanna
Matt
bring
Bomber
up
looks
other
great in
Mike.
this movie.
Malik?
I think Malik.
Oh yeah,
Malik
he
looks
looks
great.
Some
incredible.
Magic bringing some
Malik.
fucking heat, man.
Malik looked great, but again, Malik falls into the same problem that I'm having with like Adam Bomber, or even actually to a degree, Channing Tatum in this, which is what we call the not Tom Harding. What's the kid from Spider-Man? Andy, what do we call it?
Tom Holland.
So the
dude,
Tom
Channing
Holland
Tatum-
effect.
Channing Tatum does not fall into the Tom Holland effect at all.
He's almost in the Tom Holland effect though, where he's just really, really skinny and low body fat, not so much jacked in this. Joe Manganiello, on the other hand, is just he's got a solid 20 pounds of muscle. He does not need on that. He could loan it to me. Loan it to me. I'm not doing it this weekend. I'll come pick it up. I'll come to you, Joe
What do you think,
Manganiello.
Chris?
Kev, can you bring up the picture I just sent to assets? Go for it, Chris.
Bounce.
I agree. It's still Joe, but I actually wanted to shout out Channing's arms because he definitely did work those out.
They
His
look good.
arms
They're
are
way more
bigger
defined.
than the first
Great.
movie.
They look really good.
But
They look
yeah, you
really
got to
good.
give it to Joe. Like Joe
Yeah.
is like a sculpture of a man.
He's
Joe's-
unmatched.
Yeah, Joe's still number one for me, but I do think Ken, when Ken is sitting down doing the yoga, the definition there is just really impressive.
All right, in this picture, Malik is fucking
That's what I'm
destroying
saying, like,
everyone
this-
in this.
And I get that this isn't in the movie, but I'm just saying, like, he is not in the Tom Holland category. Like,
Yeah, you're
look
right.
at-
You're absolutely
his-
right. I
his
apologize.
abs look like biceps.
I like to-
of a buff
Why is
man.
Kevin Nash photoshopped in the background of this group photo?
It does look like Photoshop to
it does
that.
absolutely look like it.
Not only does it look Photoshop, it looks like they took it from a WWE event and photoshopped the jeans onto him.
Wait, Kev, can you bring up the thing Joey sent? The group picture.
Oh wait, what are we watching here with Kev? I missed that one.
Yeah.
He looks so
terrible.
photoshopped.
God. The real winner is us, guys.
It is.
It is us.
Really,
It
really
is us.
is.
Oh man. Well, there you go. Number 1 and number 2, Joe Manganiello. There it is.
Now, for best set piece, the first movie, we had Magic Mike's Pony. This one's a lot harder.
It's got to be the mirror
honestly,
dance.
The mirror dance.
The mirror dance is amazing, and I do think it deserves the win. But I want to give a shout out to the ridiculous magic that is them making Pony a hit again. Like, they really did a good job with the fires and flames of coming out of his crotch, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I don't know, man. Him proving himself to Rome, I think that's. I give it that one the top spot because I don't have to look at Amber Heard being uncomfortable.
That's
She
true.
kind of ruins the mirror dance for me. 'Cause every time it cuts to her, I'm like, I just don't want to look at her. She's not having
Yeah.
fun here. But like the Rome one, I think might be my top one.
Joe?
I mean, that whole are we lumping
I
the
think-
whole Rome set piece in? Or
I
is
was
it
just
you know,
thinking,
I think-
I think just Channing's dance personally, but you can.
Because if we're gonna lump the whole moment of that in against the mirror dance, I might put the Rome scene in there.
I'm down with that. Rome's house.
Joey, what do you think?
Yeah, I also want to give a shout out to when he's in his workshop by himself. I feel
That's
like that one,
great.
Dude, yeah.
when he's swinging around and everything, like, oh,
I
so good.
think Rome's house, Channing Tatum is very, very good. But I thought the coordination on the mirror dance was just
That was
really
pretty sure. Yeah, I gotta get some
mesmerizing.
mirror dance.
Yeah.
Mirror dance is fucking lit.
Because it was
I mean, they're both
two
10 out of
people
10.
doing awesome moves at the same time, and it looked really damn cool.
and
Yeah.
high-fiving each other like 4
Yeah.
times.
Oh my god.
And
It's like, yeah,
switching
bro,
off.
we're doing it.
There was like a
We're doing it.
switcheroo
Let's go.
midway through. It was great.
All right, now it's time to rank Magic Mike. Currently, number 1 is Magic Mike. Do we think that Magic Mike XXL is above Magic Mike 1?
I think
Easily.
so.
100%.
I
Without a
agree.
doubt.
I just think
agree.
it's so much more fun. It's so much more. You get such a better sense of like the happy-go-lucky group. I think the guys in the first one, you're like, I don't know if I like these guys at all. In this, I'm like, these are lovely human beings who have aspirations that are attainable.
What I was really hoping for at the very, very end after the fireworks, Mike is walking back to the Froyo truck, opens the door, shadowy figure there. Well, looks like you're back, huh?
God.
Oh my
Cut the
gosh.
credits, dude. Oh my god.
Damn.
It was all a play.
Ask-
right? A
also, tell us
ploy.
about the Avengers Initiative.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it so much. Well, with this, we bid adieu to Magic Mike in review.
Ooh.
Didn't rhyme.
Ooh.
Kind
Or didn't have to rhyme, but it did. Chris, thank you very much for joining us on this adventure.
Of course.
Where
Had
can
to
people
be.
find you?
At Christopher Anka on anything, or Twitter and Instagram.
With a K.
With the K. Don't forget that K. All right, guys. Till next time. Love you all. Goodbye.
Ride that pony.